This podcast was produced with the financial support of the European Union and the Culture Fund. Contents are the sole responsibility of Girls Aloud and do not necessarily reflect the views of the European Union and the Culture Fund.
Hello, hi, Dumelang Linjani. My name is Nozi, also known as Mapo, bringing you Girls Aloud, a podcast for every woman, every girl, every young lady out there. I mean, I'm always saying this is an all things female podcast. And our podcast is supported by Culture Fund in Zimbabwe. As I said earlier on, this is an all things female podcast. So today, ngiphathele ishow echazayo. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite again. It was hostility among females.
Hi, Tinashe.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you guys for having me.
Okay, so do you think it's impossible for women to coexist without some level, some cattiness?
Well, I think there is cattiness amongst women.
All right.
And I think there's cattiness amongst men as well.
Okay.
The only difference is that the same emotion or outburst done by men and women is named differently.
All right.
When men are catty, no one says it's catty, but it's human nature. We see each other as rivals.
Okay.
Men compete for, I don't know, female affection and whatever. We compete for male affection or to look nice, I don't know, for stuff. It's just a normal human response.
All right. So okay, fine. Why do you think it's difficult for women to coexist without some level of hostility brewing?
I think it's difficult because that's what we've been told. That women are jealous of you, women want your spot, etc, etc.
Okay.
So even when we do find women who are genuine and lovely people, it may take us some time to see that everything that we were taught when we were young or by society is actually wrong.
Okay.
Most women out there are just nice people.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, there's some horrible ones.
Okay, fine.
But a large number of people, they're just nice people. They're not trying to kill you or whatever.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So okay, is it safe to
Okay.
Okay, who do you think is responsible for the alleged? Okay, the way you're saying it is
It's
fine.
an allegation.
Okay, for the alleged hostility among women.
I think what happens is that as women, we're a very vulnerable group.
All right.
And a lot of our strength in women comes when we are together.
Okay.
So the more society keeps us apart, the more they keep us weak and subdued.
Okay, I'm sorry. By society, do you mean men or the patriarchal society?
I mean patriarchy specifically.
Okay, all right. Because
yes.
I was about to ask you do men have a role in all this
Oh,
hatred?
yes, they do. Even one thing about patriarchy,
Yes.
even when you don't know or you aren't intentionally doing it,
All
you can
right.
perpetuate it.
Okay.
So it's not like everyone is intentionally evil and saying, oh, I'll be a patriarchal devil today.
Okay. So is it safe to say patriarchy is as old as biology?
I think so. Patriarchy is
And then it plays
very
a
old.
major role in the hostility and division amongst women.
Yes. A lot of the divisions amongst women comes from wanting male attention.
All right.
Or a lot of their alleged, it's like we're all fighting so that men look at us, even not in a romantic way, but
All
generally
right.
we're taught to crave the approval of men.
Okay.
Which is why if I say you're a good driver, you don't care. But if a guy says you're a good driver, you're like,
You
oh, because we're taught that men's opinions matter more than women's opinions, because we're taught that men matter more than women from the time we're young. So, yeah, that does play a huge role. I think the role of perpetuating this idea is to keep women in check.
Okay.
Keep them in their place where they don't bother anyone, because
All right.
the minute they become in groups and love each other, they become a problem.
Okay, so do you think there are certain things that women should fight over, if
Oh,
any?
definitely.
What are those?
Definitely. Like, if you support Dimbare and I support Highlanders, if I pull your braids out, it might happen. It might
Okay,
happen.
all right.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
joking. No violence is bad. No violence, even in sex.
Okay.
But I'm saying that just because we're women doesn't mean we all have to agree or like each other.
All right.
It's not. Men don't all agree or like each other, and no one
That's
has that
very true. That's very
expectation.
true.
No one is like, to Casper, why are you always fighting, AKA?
AKA, yes.
And every day they're all, and no one cares.
All right.
So with women, it should be the same. We have to respect each other as people because we're human first, but we don't all have to be
Agree on
friends.
something. Okay,
Like,
over women.
guys,
All
we're
right.
adults.
Okay. All right, so can you just talk about this issue of Maasai chicks and the other woman? I see you didn't touch on that.
Intentionally, but okay.
Okay. Okay, it seems like the numbers are increasing of the other woman or the side chick.
Yeah.
And people would like to say probably is another woman having less regards or none whatsoever for the next person.
Yeah.
Who's probably maybe mfaz wendoda young corner that you're dating and all
Yeah.
that.
I think one thing people must understand is that if men stopped cheating, side
Yes.
chicks would stop existing.
All right.
That is like the simplest, because we might try to fix the side chick, but it's like with rape culture. You can't tell
Yes.
someone to wear a dress and not be raped. No, that will never fix everything. But if you
Alright.
make the rapist stop raping, voila, no more rape. So if men stop cheating, this whole side chick thing.
Okay, fine. Still on that, okay?
Yes.
Why is it the instinct to fight the other woman and not to fight the man who's cheating? Like you said, if men stop cheating,
My side chick, I would
okay, then why fight the other woman? Why fight the side chick?
Because honestly, when someone cheats on you, it really reduces your confidence.
Okay.
Especially because we're taught that we need to be chosen.
All right.
So if my guy cheats on me with you,
Yes.
I feel like you came and took my place because I was the chosen one. So instead of directing that hostility at the person who chose to disrespect me, I
Yes.
direct it towards you because in my mind you're taking my place, a place
right.
which from childhood I've been taught determines my value as a human being.
Okay.
So it's really hurtful, and well, people react in different ways. But the first instinct is usually, this girl is taking my place. Why? It's not, this guy is an idiot and he doesn't deserve me. That thought comes after.
All right.
Or
Okay.
not
Fine.
at
Okay. All right. Okay. Then let's
Yeah.
just zhuzh it up a bit. Why is it that a relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law is always tense? I mean, you've had terms like umalukazana kuthiwa ngumalukuzwana. You know, why is it always tense?
I think a lot, because, okay, I hate to say this, but a lot of mothers value their boy children more.
All right.
Fine, there are some mothers abahlupha abakhwenyana, but
Yes.
usually a woman will have a son and a daughter and will never meddle in the daughter's marriage
Okay.
because they don't care as much about their daughter as they did about
But
their
the
son.
sons. Okay.
So the level of entitlement and the level of competition, even being taught, someone recently was telling me that, you know what, if you're with a man, you have to be his mother.
Okay.
A man can't have two mothers. Akupumi, you know.
No,
So
I understand.
like, but you never find a father-in-law and a son-in-law behlupana because their roles are different. And
Alright.
also, fathers don't obsess over their children.
Okay.
Okay, fine. A lot of men don't care about their children, but fathers are
that's
less
fine.
obsessive. There are
Alright.
some who do. There are many who do,
Alright.
but they're not as involved or obsessed. They-
As their mothers are.
yeah.
All
So I
right.
think as women, we should remove our value again from our sons. Like, we love them, they're our children, but if we treated them the same way we treated our daughters, we wouldn't feel, oh, malukazana uyohambe ehlezi
Mntanami,
phambili.
yes,
Come on, man.
Yes.
That's not a thing.
Okay, fine. Can you talk about slut shaming?
Oh,
That this is a very common thing, especially like on social media. You'd
yes,
find
it
women
is.
slut shaming each other. Why?
It goes back to the idea of being picked. We call it Picnism.
Yes.
So what happens is,
And then
mina ngawu-
what do you think about it?
I think it's something that we're unlearning because again we've been taught this from a very tender age and it's
All right.
difficult to unlearn. So mina ngawuchayelela phansi, it improves my chances of being what? Of
Picked.
being picked.
Okay.
And again, it goes back to thinking that our value depends on whether or not a man picks us. So once we remove our value from being picked by men
men.
and have this value, I'm a human being, I matter because I'm a person, not because
Alright.
someone picked. Because
Alright.
what if you never get picked? Because it's a possibility. So once you remove your value from being picked by someone, you won't feel the need to pull someone else down,
No.
whether for their choices or because they're wearing a mini skirt or because they've slept with 10 people. Like, it's not your business.
Okay, fine. Tinashe, I can talk about phrases like you're one of the boys.
Oh,
You are different from other girls. Why does it seem like a compliment? It comes out as a compliment.
because
I
of,
mean, we even have a tomboy.
yes,
yes.
we do. I think it's because we've been taught that men are the standard.
All right.
So I taught uDefa njengomfazi.
All right.
And yet abafazi carry children, can carry entire households and everything.
Yes.
So actually abafazi kabadefi. So negative things have been associated with women and positive things have been associated with men. So it goes back to a man complimenting you for your driving. We think it's better because we've been taught that men is the standard, Tina, we're the deviation. So once you reclaim yourself as a woman, you won't need to be one of the boys to have any value.
Okay, Tinashe.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible for sister wives to have a relationship, like a good relationship, like the practicability of it?
I think it depends because in marriages in general, sometimes it's hard even for a husband and a wife who would tibewelelan.
Yes.
So imagine if there's now a husband and 6 wives, the chances for conflict are more because the number of different characters, different backgrounds, different needs are more, and that competition that we spoke about, that desire for male attention is more. And you never know, maybe the husband doesn't share his time equally amongst them and gives a chance for jealous. So it is possible. But like the more wives you add, the more difficult it becomes because it's just a more people,
the more drama,
the more chance of
conflict. The wives fight.
Exactly, because now you have so you know it's a lot, but it is possible. I've heard of it.
All right.
But because even abantu beyi-2 bakwanisa ukungazwanani, just a husband and a wife.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so we're often told it's not a competition.
Yes.
Yet we're always competing for jobs.
Exactly.
For the same guys, the same car promotion.
Yeah.
What's your take on it's not a competition?
The unfortunate truth is that it is a competition. And the reason why it's a competition is because the world and society is structured in such a way that only a few of us can succeed. All right. And to succeed, sometimes you have to get rid of your ethics. Sometimes you have to punch below the belt. Okay. That's the unfortunate way. It's like people were saying, Oguti, you know, you can't be a straight politician in Zimbabwe. Yes. You have to have some crookedness to what? To get ahead. So the way things have been structured, yes, you can win fair and square without competing, with doing your thing. Yeah. But the reality, even now, yes, and you need an edge above the other person. So all you have to do is balance the competing part with not hurting people, not hurting other humans. You know, being a decent person part. All right. Which is really hard. I think it's hard.
Okay. There's an overt hostility that some women, right, they display their such hostility as friendship.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you have that.
Okay, so how do you deal with that?
I think the older you get, the more mature and discerning you become. Like, fake. Me 5 years ago would have never been able to see what yes. But now as you grow older and you become better at reading people, even with some men, but they don't like you. All right. So as you grow older, you can see
okay, but then what's your take on like just having someone, a stranger, from nowhere, let's say it's at work or it's at church, you don't know why.
I don't know why.
But you can talk to this person. It's just southwest.
I'll confess.
Yes.
I was once like that to someone because I didn't know them, and my first impression of them was with Mama Lo aloof. Okay. She thinks he's bad. Yeah. Later I realized she's such a sweet person. You would has tanda kuphela, but she's also so kind and open. So sometimes people
at this point you thought
exactly. So it was now my insecurity being projected onto this very nice, lovely. Even up till today I'm ashamed because she's such a sweet person, and I painted her in a horrible brush because of my own insecurities. Okay. So sometimes people don't know you well enough, so they judge you because they see parts of themselves that they're missing in you. Okay. But once they get to know you, okay, so
how do you think we should groom the next generation of women to love each other better, to get along just fine? Live each other as sisters, you know?
I think one thing that we should do is remove their value from the attention of men.
All right.
Or from approval of anyone, even that mama bankon.
Yes.
Or what, you have 2 daughters and you're like, don't do that. Okay. Don't be that person. Just let them know they're valuable as a person, and let them know that the world is hard for women. Yes. So you have to be your sister's keeper, because you can only trust a man so much. I know we've all been taught to don't be alone with a guy in a
the
room
guys,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
because it's a fact. You can only trust a man to a certain extent.
Yes.
But a woman is much less likely to hurt you. I'm not saying all women are saints. No, there are horrible people out there.
Yes.
But if women took care of each other more, of which we do, if we increased it more, I think we'd all be safer and in a better place.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we take a break, here's my last question.
Yes.
There's a psychological complex.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Called the electro complex. Okay.
Yes.
So do you think it's adequate to explain why women are always at war with each other?
Well, the Electra complex says women are jealous of their mothers.
Yes.
And there's a parallel complex that says men are always jealous of their fathers.
Yes.
I've never heard of a woman killing her mother on account of this Electra complex.
Yes.
But just a few weeks ago, I heard of this man who crushed his father's genitals until he died.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yes.
Why?
Radio Zimbabwe. I don't know. I think the father was cheating on his mom.
Oh.
Or
Okay,
whatever.
that's it. All right.
But like for a lot of women, like the moms will do whatever, and you wouldn't kill your mom just because she cheated. It's not
No.
normal. So I think the Electra complex is just more exaggerated than the male version of it.
All right.
People exaggerate, but and a lot of women have realized as they grow older, they become closer to their mothers.
to their moms. Yes.
Like as your mind opens, you're like, but she's like my closest
News
friend.
until yonke into.
You know, so yeah. I think it's exaggerated.
Okay, thank you so much, Tinashe. Just join us after the break as we look at our audience reviews.
All right.
Thank you.
This podcast was produced with the financial support of the European Union and the Culture Fund. Contents are the sole responsibility of GirlsAloud and do not necessarily reflect the views of the European Union and the Culture Fund.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll just go straight to those responses that we got from our audiences.
Yeah.
Okala would see we are our own worst enemy as
Okay.
women. We near each other, bring each other down, lie about each other,
Yeah.
all with a smile on our faces.
Well, one thing that enables women to do that is because we're taught to suppress our emotions from a young age.
Okay.
I wonder if we were taught to be open. If I don't like you, I can just come and tell you to your face. Which is why I'm bored.
That would be so random.
You see, but it would help. It would help because you stay clear of my path. I stay clear of your path. We don't have to do all this subtle nonsense thing.
Yes.
But one thing we must realize: the portion of women that pulls each other down is much smaller than the portion of women that lifts each other up.
Okay.
So I think why don't we focus on the good thing, on the women who are helping other women, on the women who are taking in teenagers, on like even Unja, if you're walking at night, who do you trust to help you, a man or another woman? Another woman. You know why? You know why? It's because these days hijackers will, because they know women trust other women,
Alright.
they'll put a woman phambili and ile gang yamadoda behind her. So people are now weaponizing women's trust for each other. Which one you
Alright.
think you're giving the sweet girl a lift, and then the next thing you know, 6 guys are in the car
You know, I
and
understand.
taking your car. So yeah, women do that, but more women are kind and uplifting than those who are evil.
Okay. So the second review that we got, I'm at a place where whenever I need e-service from a customer service,
Yeah.
I pray that I find a guy go front desk than
Yeah.
because
Uh-huh.
I know i-service guy people counterparts.
Yeah.
Yes.
One thing that's hard about being a woman in the service industry,
Yes.
abantu bakujwayela.
All right.
So, in as much as the customer is always king, what, if you work with other people, there are people who, when they get there, I'm even at work, I've had this, someone gets there, sees you're a woman, sees you're young, immediately tries to intimidate you for no reason.
All right.
So you have to develop that thick skin and be
Okay.
a bit aloof.
And just be rude.
No, well, not necessarily rude, but you kumele ube aloof.
All right.
Because if someone gets, it's like even a bow, you can't be too nice to people. Nxa usebenza eBow. You have to.
But you deal with people though.
You do deal with people, but abantu bayadelela abafazi.
Okay.
So in as much as this person has to be nice to the customer and what, their own safety comes first.
All right.
Because if someone comes at customer service and they find a woman there and they're unhappy with something, the way they behave will be different from if they find a man there. Umuntu akasoze afike xa upopote threaten if there's this tall giant man there. Afika la yazithola. Athola kulami. They tell themselves, I can take this one. Yeah, what, you know.
Okay. It really starts with the older women, especially the aunties. All they do is criticize, then you move on to the mother-in-laws.
I think
those ones are usually worse.
So I've heard.
They like to make the daughter-in-law suffer.
I think one thing that women are starting to learn is to be kind to each other.
Okay.
Especially like with the aunties. And a lot of the time I've realized with the aunties, they'll be trying to protect us, but because no one ever taught them, they don't know how to do it properly.
Okay.
Like an auntie will come and tell you, as I'm so used to.
So she's saying you should lose weight. Okay?
No, not really. Yeah. Because in her mind, she knows that when you go out there, you'll be bullied for it because people are mean. Okay. So they don't know that a better way is to affirm a child and tell them, you know what, you're perfect as you are. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Okay. So sometimes there's older women, because of the way they grew up and the way things were in the past, they don't know how to express their love properly to us. So
that's very great.
I'm not saying it's right. It's wrong. It destroys your confidence. It's bad. But I think our generation, since it was, like I have nieces. I've learned to affirm them, to let them know. Even Mamba Kuz, I've learned to do it in a wholesome way, and we're learning.
Okay. So from an early age, girls are taught to see each other as a competition.
True.
And that fuels hate amongst each other, such that by the time they are adults, they don't like each other, but they really don't know why.
Exactly.
Like I said, so like I just
see, like the example that I gave it, I just had an attitude towards this lady and I didn't know why. Yes. So it's an active work. It takes introspection. Now, as why do I have these feelings towards other women? Where did this come from? Exactly. Okay. You know, so don't just say, oh, I feel this way about Uzvanya. No, why do you feel? Where is this coming from? So I think one thing I like about this generation, we do a lot of introspection. We no longer just accept it. Like we're having this whole episode to ponder why. And the more we do that, the more we see this is just social conditioning. We don't actually hate each other. Like, I know a lot of women will be like, no, I prefer to hang out with men. There are things you can't talk to about men simply because your life experience is different.
Okay, I'll come back to that one. But then when you would see it's not necessarily hate, but rather you look at another woman's flaws and you want to be better than them. Right. Yeah. It's extremely rare for some women to actually applaud a fellow woman for doing something good.
I think it goes back to the pick-me syndrome. If I pull you down, if I'm like, and what, like, she's fast. No, I'm complimenting, dude. I'm complimenting. Like, you should be like, yes. But, you know, I'm just showing how we can turn even the most random things into negative things.
Yes, that's true.
Into a negative thing to justify why we should be chosen. But once I no longer have anyone to impress, why should I hate you?
Yeah, that's true.
So if we remove our value from what someone says about us, we won't have to put each other down.
All right.
We can uplift each other and be kind.
Okay. And then that's why I hate how girls are nicer to each other when they're drunk. Than on any normal day.
Well, I think it has to do with the fact that when a woman is drunk, she's very vulnerable. Okay. Especially like the level of maternal instincts that come over you when you see a drunk girl passed out a bar are unparalleled. Yes. Like you don't know that girl, you just want to take her, get her own safe, tuck her into her bed, lock the door, and make sure she's safe. Right. So I think alcohol reduces your inhibitions. Yes. So I think that's just the niceness that's already inside us. But when you drink and you're more free, all the social conditioning of what this is competition, it's reduced. So now you can see this as a person, as a fellow sister. And the truth is, being drunk as a woman is a dangerous place. All right. And the only people who really take care of drunk women are other women. Okay. So we met of survival, like all the catty, petty nonsense of Saserians.
Okay. So can you talk about our hostel or place, team up with friends that you are? Like there's a female besties, obviously also towards the girlfriend.
Or like if my boyfriend is a female bestie.
Yes, and then that bestie is also towards you.
And I think abantu bayabefunana.
And sometimes it's the other way around. Actually, when you can be also towards the bestie. You just feel like it's a competition.
No, okay, here's the thing. It goes back to Uti. I want to be picked. I want my partner to pick me constantly.
Then Tinashe, you picked you as his girlfriend, he picked me as his friend.
Khonapho kuba le
Different roles
problem
in
because
dynamic.
you know what?
Yes.
Because you're a woman,
Yes.
I will feel like you can replace me.
All right.
And I don't want to be replaced. I like being liked, especially if you're
Okay.
too close. I'll feel like, guys, Cherilo, she
Not
can
me for
easily
boyfriend,
take
yeah.
my place. No, even when I'm funny,
Okay.
I can feel like I feel replaceable.
Oh.
Yabo. So I think if you're a person and you have a bestie of another gender,
Yes.
of course I want to buy cheer, my couples are cheer. But
Yes.
if I have a male bestie, even my boyfriend can get jealous.
Yes.
It's not just a woman thing. I was seeing this tweet where this person was like, how can this person post this picture with their bestie? What? This is so
I think
disrespectful.
I saw it.
You
Some
saw
birthday
it.
tweet, whatnot.
Exactly.
Yes, I saw it.
So I think woman partnerships, what people should do is make their partner feel secure.
All right.
Because if I have a male bestie, but
Yes.
I always prioritize my boyfriend, absurd. He
Yes.
won't feel the need to compete with this guy because the attention I give this guy
It's
and the attention I
different.
give him is different. So in the same way, if I have a boyfriend, and he doesn't go out of his way, because you have to go out of your way if you're in a relationship. You can't just do the bare minimum because people have insecurities. So even the best ones amongst us. So if he insists on having a female bestie, he
Yes.
then has to go out of his way to keep me assured or to gazaloga so
She's
that
just my
replace.
friend.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like if you're having midnight calls with this girl, I'm sorry, I'm not that open-minded.
But then she's just a friend.
I guess nothing good happens after 10 p.m. Please, like no, no. So I think you kumele ufunde umuntu wakho and then look for the best way to make them secure. Because in as much as it's cool, let's be honest, some people or bestie end up being the love of their lives. It happens.
Well, I just feel like we must just go on and on about this bestie thing.
Just
But
saying.
then, thank you so
I'm
much
not
for
speaking
joining us
for
today.
experience. Thank you for having
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay.
This podcast was produced with the financial support of the European Union and the Culture Fund. Contents are the sole responsibility of GirlsAloud and do not necessarily reflect the views of the European Union and the Culture Fund.